Go blow your dad, you mullet-wearing asshole. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
That's the best line of the movie.
So good. This is episode 25 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And this week, and for the rest of the month, we're going to have special guest Katey Cottrill on. Say hi.
Hi. You said my name wrong.
Well, whatever. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Stephen King movies all month.
Yay.
And this week will be kind of just a discussion on the It movies and a little of the book, which I did not finish because it is 48 hours long.
You watched the original like 16 times.
Yeah, but
Could
that's
have
fun.
spent some of the time on the book.
That's not like overly wordy and crazy. It doesn't have a child orgy in it.
I read 3 chapters of the book, and then I returned it, so I didn't read the book either.
Alright, well, I'll make a separate podcast about the book.
So Kit's just going to have to answer some questions from a book he probably read like years ago.
You didn't even get to the chapter where, what's his name? The one dude tries to get Henry Bowers to masturbate with him in the junkyard.
Which kid is that?
What the fuck is his name? He was the first bully to die in the 2017 movie.
Oh yeah, I can't think of his name. That's weird.
He is
Patrick?
Yes, Patrick Hockstetter. He is much fucking weirder in the book.
Everything in the book was just like, it just needed like edited way more. Like, it's just too much description for me. That's
Stephen King.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've gathered. I really enjoyed the chapters where it was like Mike telling the story, like the history of the town. And like, I don't know, like I got basically to the dinner scene where the adults like reunite, and then I was just like, I'm gonna take a break, and then I was like, I don't want to finish the other 20 hours of this.
See, that's where the book actually picked up for me.
That's what I figured,
I was enjoying it through that point, but it starts to kick into gear right after that.
We'll probably go back to it at some point whenever like the sequel for the newer one comes out. But
I will never go back to it.
Well, listening to it's a little different. Like, I could just listen to it at work, but I don't know. I got like 26 hours in or some shit, and I was like, this is just too much.
Well, I listened to both Thinner and Dreamcatcher, and Dreamcatcher was like 20-something hours, and so I just don't have that many hours in my life to like listen to that and it, so...
Dreamcatcher sucks.
I am very excited to get to Dreamcatcher because it is crazy. And like the story behind him writing that book is also crazy.
It is. So I have some facts about it, the novel, if you guys would like to hear them.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the book came out in 1986, and it actually took him 6 years to write from like the very first time that he had the idea for it, which I think is insane because all of his other books take like a month for him to write. And if anyone's interested, it was an extension of a novella he wrote called The Body, which you can find somewhere. And one of the things I thought was sort of weird is that I was reading today about the book, and it was supposed to take place like when they're children. It's supposed to be 1958, but in the movies, it's the 80s, right?
In the first one, it's the 50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the second one...
pushed it up for the newer one.
The new one, they just made it so that like all of the current stuff will be like modern day.
Which I think was a good idea.
Yeah,
but
because then you could have a lot less N-words in there, hopefully.
Oh yeah, if anyone was like missing any of the like racism or any of that stuff, every single one of these books and movies has a ton of it. So
yeah, I mean, like
that's good.
I feel like the new one is less overt. Like there's a little bit just in it, just because it kind of like has to be, I guess. But like, God, the book is like brutal. Then
I think there would have been more racism involved in the newer one if they hadn't just completely eliminated the character of Mike Hanlon, essentially. Like, they just did nothing with him, which is a shame.
Because, I mean, all the kids are in the sequel, I think, right? Like, I think the sequel will be more along the lines of kind of how the first miniseries was, where it'll be a little bit of back and forth. And
is it?
I think so, because I think they're all still, like, all of the kids, I think, are still in the cast, so I don't know if it'll just be, like, a little bit, or, like, maybe there's just going to show, like, clips from the first movie or something, but I think it's going to be, like, I'm sure there will be stuff of them flashing back onto, like, things that happened. So I'm wondering if they're going to go into, like, a little bit more of his backstory. Because in the book, I liked him a lot.
Yeah, even in, like, he's a fantastic character in the book.
Yeah, in the first miniseries, he's pretty good, too. So it is kind of a bummer that he just kind of got relegated to, like, this little tiny side character in the 2017 one. Anyway, more facts.
Okay, so in the book, the very first kid that dies, I don't remember what his name is, because I didn't read it, but,
What, Georgie?
you're right, so, no.
I was like, wait, you don't know that?
He was like the first kid that went missing when it all started again. So that kid's death was actually based on a real death, so wherever he was living, there was like an actual standpipe, and, that was like based off of a real kid who like fell off the rails or something. And apparently a bunch of really terrible tragedies like actually happened in that town. So a lot of the book is based off of like a lot of the things that happened is based off either things that he experienced or that did happen in the town. So I don't think that this was in the original, but talking about Mike in the second one where his fear that manifest was sort of like because of that fire thing like actually really happened in the town, which I think is really interesting. So like one of the other things that happens in the first movie is when they're at the Barrens and they clog the dam for whatever reason, like that really happened. Stephen King's brother showed him how to do that, and like a cop actually rolled up and was like, what's going on? So there's like a lot of really cool like actual real life things that happened in it. And then the only other note that I had is when he was doing the revisions for, like I said, it took 7 years to write. When he was doing the revisions, he was addicted to cocaine. So, take that as you will.
That's pretty much like the entire middle part of his like career. It's just like every book was written on like cocaine.
Which is
cocaine,
like most of what we're talking about. So
yeah, because isn't like Dreamcatcher was just like way into Oxycontin, I think.
Yeah.
Which makes sense when you see the movie. So my first question that I need to deep dive in is how in the 2017 movie is Ben Hanscom not dead from a bacterial infection?
They went to like the Walgreens and just, got some Neosporin. It's fine.
And then he just like swims around in some fucking Green River lake thing for a while, and that kid should be dead. That's all I'm saying. He should have had like some flesh-eating bacteria and be dead within like a week.
Well, I googled what kind of bacteria can you get from sewer water, and it was like it was a lot of things that, number one, I can't pronounce, but a lot of it gives you diarrhea. So for sure he had a ton of diarrhea, but there was also like typhoid fever, hepatitis A, salmonella and then like a bunch of stuff that you get from salmonella. So like 100% that, aside from like getting cut with a wrought iron like pole thing, there's no way that he would survive.
Yeah. Like,
I think it would have been a much better ending if Ben had warded off Pennywise by shitting in his pants uncontrollably.
like every time I've watched it, that's like all I could think about is like when he kind of stumbles across the losers club or whatever. Is I'm like, this kid's just like wallowing around in this weird sewer water with just a massive open wound on his stomach. And I'm like, that's real gross. And then they just like jump off that cliff into the water, and I'm just like, yeah, there's no way this is sanitary, and that whatever bandage they put on him is going to stick. That, and it's good, but I absolutely was like fucking so mad every time with that scene with Henry cutting him. Like, I hate it. Like, it's done well, but I'm just like, God, I want this kid to fucking die so much. Like, I just want Henry to die.
He's another person that had a lot of his characterization cut from what's in the book. Which, I mean, it's hard to shoehorn, 1,200 pages worth of shit into the movie, but he's a real piece of shit.
I was real interested, like, what they were going to do with him, and then kind of real disappointed when he, I'm guessing, is dead at the end of the 2017 one.
I'm curious to see if they stick with that kind of thread of he winds up in an insane asylum somehow. Like, if he survives falling down the well and winds up in there and is basically tasked by Pennywise to try and hunt everyone down and stab them to death.
Yeah, because I like that plot point, like, for some reason. I don't know why, but I do like that, and I was kind of, like, bummed out. But I also did like the scene where he pulls up in the car and his friend is dead or whatever, and he's just, like, covered in blood. And, like, I did like that about that kind of just, like, turn of him going crazy. So, I don't know. I'm kind of, I like both ways they treated him, but I also kind of wish they wouldn't have killed him off per se in the first one, or in the 2017.
Well, I think the way that he fell down the well, like, I don't know how you survived from that, but I really like
the Hanscom method is what they call it.
That. Yeah, that's true. But I feel like it was really interesting in the first one where, they just like blame all of the murders and disappearances on him, and he's like, crazy at that point, so who cares? But yeah, I don't see how you come back from. It like literally sounded like he snapped his neck on the. I mean, I've never fell down a well, so I guess I don't know.
Well, as someone who has, no, I'm just kidding. I need to go back to
that
Ben.
Would explain a lot.
Yeah, it would. I need to go back to Ben Hanscom for a minute and ask where the fuck his parents are at.
Well, in the second one, they had that. I thought there was a scene where he was like talking to his mom, and she was like, "You're terrible. Be nice. We're living with these people you're like on or something." Is
that the second one or the first one?
Oh, I don't know. No,
I think that's in the.
No, that is the first one.
Yeah.
You're right. Because his cousin comes in and is like, "Ha, you're writing poetry. You're stupid," and then they like fight or something.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that his dad died, and then they move in with their like terrible aunt. But maybe that wasn't in the second one at all.
I'm just like, how has no one noticed this kid has like numerous open wounds?
Stab wounds.
That kid fucking rules though in the 2017 one. Like, I think the cast of the 2017 one is like spot on.
It's amazing. And Richie, Sophia, well, her name is Sophia. Richie,
Yeah.
Bev, and Eddie really like super carried that movie for me.
Yeah.
And all the other people, I just kind of like whatever. Even Ben, but
I like Ben. I like the kind of weird, like, lovelorn nonsense between Ben and Beverly in it. Like, I think they're cast well, and I think they play off each other well. But Sophia Lillis as Beverly is like the standout for me in that movie. Like, she's so good.
She is badass.
Yeah.
She is like one of the best like portrayals of like a female character that I've seen in a movie in like a really long time, and she's like a child.
Yeah. And then like I especially the like when she pops up in the house and just like stabs Pennywise in the head. All about it. And then yeah, obviously Finn Wolfhard is fucking perfect casting. He and I'm real interested to see like what Bill Hader does with that character in the sequel.
That was a good casting decision, I think.
That was like I guess one of the things I saw is they asked all the kids who they would like to play them in the sequel. And like Sophia said Jennifer Chastain, I think is what her name is.
I think it's Jessica.
Jessica, yeah. And that's who got cast, and then like Finn Wolfhard said Bill Hader and he got cast, and then the rest of them like the kid who played Mike Hanlon said like Chadwick Boseman, and a couple other of them were like real kind of like shot in the dark ones like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and shit. So I think somebody said Chris Pratt. Like I think maybe like maybe the kid that played Ben wanted Chris Pratt. I don't remember, but like the only two.
I could kind of see that.
Yeah, I'd like all of them made sense, but they were all ones where you're just kind of like, this person is like already
expensive.
Yeah, like Chris Pratt's got like
Expensive.
3 other franchises going on. He ain't got time for this.
Well, he doesn't have Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Well, he does. It's just on hold. I guess there was also too like it was like when they announced the sequel. I guess like Bill Skarsgård was like wasn't going to do it, which would have just been a fucking disaster.
That would have been awful.
Yeah, I guess he was just like, this character's kind of like too much on me mentally to like do it, and I guess they just kind of work something out where he's gonna be in it again. So, because he is astounding.
I feel so bad for whoever gets cast as older Stan.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna be in it for like 2 seconds.
Yep.
All I think about anytime I watch like the miniseries, I'm like, this dude's like, I just got like cast in this Stephen King movie. Oh, I have like 35 seconds of screen time, and I'm like in a bathtub dead.
First, he gets to hit on his wife, so that's pretty sweet.
At least there's that.
I guess he also gets to play like a severed head in a fucking mini fridge as well.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. So, like, Bill Skarsgård is like obviously fucking ridiculously good in this, but I also kind of legitimately love Tim Curry in the first one, even though he's got a ridiculous accent throughout the entire thing.
That accent.
Listen, I just want to say that I think both of them have ridiculous ways of talking.
Yes.
For some reason, Bill Skarsgård's ridiculous way of talking is not nearly as distracting as Tim Curry's Boston accent. Maybe it's just because that's not what I was expecting out of Tim Curry the first time I watched it.
I just like that Tim Curry, for the most part, just seems like a dude who put on a clown costume. But like Bill Skarsgård actually seems like he's probably an alien in it.
I mean, to be fair, I sort of assumed that he's actually an alien, like in real life, so.
I mean, like, a lot of the fucking shit he does with his face is him doing it. It's not like CGI. Like, I remember when I first watched it, I was like texting Kit, and he was like, have you noticed his eyes yet? And how he could just like move, like one eye will just slowly move to the side and shit.
It's so good, so creepy.
Great.
And one of my favorite things, I had no idea who he was before he was cast in this, but then he's also in the Castle Rock series on Hulu, which was really good. But one of my favorite things is when people interview him and they ask him to like do the smile, and he does legit like do it.
Oh yeah, the like fucking like lip thing or whatever, and yeah, it's real creepy. And I like
now if he could just do a Boston accent.
Oh, that would have been fucking amazing. Just like that weird like high pitched thing he does, but just like as a Boston accent.
Hiya, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh,
God damn it! It's so jarring. You see creepy ass Tim Curry pop up out of the sewer, and it's like, oh God, why? And then he opens his eyes and he just goes, "Hiya, Georgie. Would you like a balloon?" You look like you could use a balloon.
Like,
I mean, to be fair, if that happened to me, I would be very terrified.
oh my god, I'd have a heart attack and just die on the spot.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to anyone from Boston, so...
No. Sorry if anyone's listening from Boston.
Yeah, I'm not.
Kit and I
Taking a hard
stances on this. I think at one point we pissed off horse people. Yeah, we just say shit and then we just immediately double down on it.
I forgot about the horse people.
I almost wish Tim Curry would have just went with his regular speaking voice with like the British accent instead of the fucking goofy ass Boston accent.
That seems pretty soothing, though. I think I'd be like okay with it if he's like, well, I'm not gonna do a fake accent for British because I can't do one, but
like, I picture him in the scene in like the library with Richie and just screaming all that shit, but just as like Tim Curry. And like, have you ever seen the video of him and I think it's like a video game from like the 90s? And he's like, God, it's something like, fuck, what is it
Command and Conquer?
Yeah, where he's like, space!
He has to have a Russian accent?
Yes.
Spies!
Like, I just picture him like as that, but in the clown makeup. It'd be fucking phenomenal. So I still think after a bunch of rewatches that I think mostly for nostalgia's sake, I prefer the miniseries. Even though I would say the 2017 one is probably a superior movie. But I genuinely love John Ritter in the first one. Yeah, R.I.P.
Jason Brandis. He was like one of my favorites when I was younger. So that's sad too.
Yeah. I don't know why I also just fucking can't deal with the stutter in the first one though. It drives me crazy. Like,
because no offense, but okay. I had a very weird thing happen to me with all of this. So I probably for nostalgia reasons, like really in my mind thought that the original miniseries was like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. It was very scary. I remember it being very scary. I remember it being very epic. And so when I went to see the 2017 version, I was like, there's no way. First of all, I should preface it by saying I'm like one of those people that I hate remakes mostly. So when I went to see it, I was like, this is going to be really fucking stupid. Like, I'm going to hate it. And I watched it, and I did go see it in the theater, which I think for anyone who didn't get to see it in the theater, I'm sorry, because it was amazing.
that's me.
In the theater. Yeah, well, so I watched it and I left being like, you know what? That was pretty darn good. And I hadn't watched the remake for like a really long time. And then I sat down, I went and bought it. I watched it the other day and I was like, this is like not.
It's cheesy as fuck.
I'm just gonna say this as like truly, I love Stephen King. He's like my favorite. If anyone wants to start a Stephen King podcast, please slide into my DMs because I will do it. It wasn't good. I didn't like it, and it actually made me like the new one like so much more, which literally has never happened to me in my whole life. So I rewatched the second one yesterday, and I was like, this is amazing. It's visually stunning.
Yeah.
The music is amazing. The kids are so good. And when I was like, listen, I watch a lot of really, maybe not necessarily like horror, but a lot of really cheesy 80s stuff. And like, that's what I like about it. But none of that stuff has the remake counter that this movie has. So watching the first one made me actually like the remake so much more. I
mean, that makes sense. I think the more I will probably end up kind of sitting and watching, and I think especially after like the sequel comes out, and especially if it's as good as the first one, I will probably be more on board because I'm really interested to see what they do with the adults.
But I want to see if they stick with the weirdness of the tail end of the adult part in the book. So they said they were going to try and get weird with it.
That's the one,
and that has me really excited.
One of the things I wanted to ask you. So,
I know what you're gonna ask. I know the answer
is
now.
Is it the weird crab thing?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is the weird crab creature that Tim Curry turns into in the book? I guess so. No.
Kind of. So the way it's described is it's kind of spider-like, but also blurred out, if I'm remembering correctly, because he's a being that's so complex, like human eyes can't really process him, so he kind of shows up as a spidery type being.
I remember, because I had seen the miniseries, when I was 10 or 11, after being fucking horrified by it. My dad was watching it one night after I was supposed to go to bed, and I walked out at the scene of Tim Curry, in the sewer. And I was, horrified as a kid, and I ended up watching it later. I think that like I said, my love of the miniseries is just basically nostalgia. And then, John Ritter and, Harry Anderson.
Seth Green.
No, fuck Seth Green. When he showed up, the first time, so, I seen it, however long ago, and then I hadn't watched it until I bought both of them on Blu-ray after, I'd been talking to Kid about it, and I was like, well, we should do, an episode on this. I was like, I'm just gonna buy them. And so I watched the miniseries again, and I was like, oh, this is real weird. And then fucking, Seth Green popped up, and I was like, I do not remember Seth Green being in this. I feel like he is way too old now to have been
That's
in
what
this
I
as a
said.
kid.
When I rewatched it, I had forgotten, and I was like, oh my god, how old is he?
Yeah, because, I think of Seth Green in, the 90s as a teenager, and not the fucking 80s. Because, I don't know, I just picture, idle hands, and I'm like, oh, Seth Green was probably, 16 in this. Apparently not. I think Seth Green is like Paul Rudd and Immortal.
He must be. I just remember him in Austin Powers, and I felt like he was, I don't know.
Yeah, because even in Austin Powers, I'm like, oh, he's probably 21, 22. He's playing this, dude's kid.
Oh. Yeah, right? Because Austin Powers came out 20-some years ago. Seth Green's 45.
I don't know. It just seems I don't know. The timeline to this.
Time is horseshit. Time doesn't make any sense. I'm taking a hard stance against time on this episode.
I'll back you on that.
Yeah. We fuck time. We're done with it.
Yeah. Fuck off time.
So I think Katie said. Did you say you got some facts about the miniseries as well?
Yes. So. Welcome to my fact corner. No, just kidding. So the rating on that, the overall rating was a 5.5 out of 10. It came out in 1990. This was a miniseries.
Wait. This came out in 1990?
That's what I wrote.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the miniseries did.
Why do I remember it being 86?
Because time is bullshit. We went over
exactly.
This is
right. The book came out in 1986. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking.
So the thing that I think is crazy, first of all, it aired on ABC. So when you look at the difference between, this made so much sense to me why in the original miniseries, you see almost nothing happen to anybody. You see, people get attacked by Pennywise in what I call his rawr face, where he just, opens his mouth, and the camera, zooms in on him, and, that's it. And then the new movie is, super graphic and gory. But then when you think about the fact that it aired on ABC, on TV for children to watch, it, makes a lot more sense, I think. This movie was shot in 3 months, the miniseries was.
Jesus Christ.
Compared to the 2017 movie, which I think they started production in 2009. So that alone, I think, is just insane.
Yeah, I saw something about how it took them years of working before they even got to casting on the 2017 one. Yeah.
The other thing is that this originally was supposed to be an 8 to 10 hour series, but ABC was really worried about it being a horror movie, and they're like, well, I don't really know if people are going to like it, so let's just cut it down so we have what it ended up to be. And then this is what I thought was the most interesting thing about it. Originally, do you guys know who the director was supposed to be?
I don't know who it was supposed to be.
Let's see. I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm trying to think of that time period.
Go for it.
Jonathan Demme.
No.
All right.
So, very originally, they had signed George A. Romero to be the director.
Oh, I would have lost my fucking mind.
So, I can't remember. Something happened where he had to go do something else, and that's like also part of the reason that they like cut the time down. So when I read that, I was like, this is freaking crazy. But then, I mean, 3 months is like freaking insane. So I give the kids and everybody a little bit more slack, like after learning that.
I mean, like, I don't necessarily think anybody is bad in the miniseries. I just think it's like that's what the time period was.
I'm gonna say Kid Bill is bad, and I hate him.
I don't necessarily. I don't know. I don't
No,
necessarily
he's
think
bad. He's bad, and you hate him too.
I think I hate Adult Bill more. Like,
I did like the bold choice to switch Adult Bill from being a balding middle-aged man to a man with a luxurious ponytail.
oh, it's so good. That ponytail rules.
No. Okay.
I'm bringing that shit back, except I'll be bald too.
Except you have no hair now.
Yes.
So,
I will look
no.
like Tim Curry, but my hair pulled back in a ponytail.
Anyway, the thing that cracked me up about Bill is that the actor that they picked like had a mole on his face, and so they made Jonathan Brandis have a mole. They put a fake mole on this child's face. It's so funny. And so whenever he showed up, all I could do was just like stare at it, like, pull it back into Austin Powers, like the mole.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't hate that kid actor that much. Like, it's not
I love
good,
him.
but like
he's probably great in everything else, but I hate him in the TV series.
I feel like the stuttering in the TV series bums me out. Like, it's just like I feel like in the 2017 one, like it's there, but I don't notice it as much. And then
I think his is pretty. The new kid, I don't remember his name. Something I don't remember. I thought he did a really good job, but both the miniseries, kid and adult, I thought were awful.
Yeah, and like especially when they have the scene in the library, like with kind of after they went to the Chinese restaurant and all that stuff, and he's like losing it, and I'm just like, I can't handle this. Just please stop. I probably sound like a huge dick, but I don't care. I hate it. Like, it just I don't know why. It's like I think the spitting when he's doing it is what bums me out the most. So I'm trying to think. I had other questions for the book that I wanted to ask Kit. I can't remember what they were.
Why is it so goddamn long? I don't know.
Cocaine.
Okay, I have a question. Yes, cocaine and alcohol. So in the original series, you have Mike is the one that's like sort of like the history buff, but then I feel like in the new one it's Ben.
Yeah. I wanted to ask that too.
It is Mike in the book.
Yeah.
So they just kind of, for whatever reason, shoved all of that onto Ben in the new one.
Because he wrote a stupid poem, I guess, and they wanted to make him seem like he was like a library nerd.
You mean an amazing poem that he's going to 100% bang Beverly Marsh in the future from?
To be fair, everybody bangs her.
Well, I mean, in the book or in the movies? Because I don't remember that in the miniseries.
Okay, so in the book, all of the boys lose their virginity to her.
Oh, is that part of the orgy?
Yeah.
Oh,
so they cut it out of both of them, which I think was a good call.
We'll see.
But I read
Understatement.
Well, I read this like blurb about it, and Stephen King basically said something. Like, I'm not defending him for doing this, but because I think it's like pretty gross. But he said something about like boys see sleeping with girls as like the bridge to manhood, and that's like their rite of passage, and blah blah blah. Which like, I just think it was a very weird choice, and I'm glad that they left it out. Let's just say that.
Yeah. You can see intent, I think, even when you're reading it. Like, you can see what he's going for, but it's still an awful idea, and it's executed in a very cringy way. You know, it's all bad. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read until I get to that point, and I'm like, what in the shit is happening right now? And
I
then
mean,
30 pages, it's just like, oh no.
I mean, I can imagine based on what I listen to and how like descriptive and wordy he gets on just like random bullshit. I can fucking only imagine what that scene is like.
I mean, you already know that he likes to like write about penises, so
Oh yeah,
I can only
so
imagine.
much talking that, but I mean,
from what I recall, it's not like explicit or graphic, and it describes everything much more metaphorically, but it goes through like the way each of the boys is experiencing it.
oh, so weird.
So it's yeah.
I just don't have any interest in knowing that at all about any of them.
Yeah. Same.
So like in the oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I think I don't know how they're gonna handle it. Obviously, in the part 2, because I think I really like the way that in the way that the miniseries goes like back and forth, and like that's pretty much how the book was, right? But I really liked how in the newer one they just like stuck to it, like we're children. They went through all of their crap as children, and then maybe in the second half it'll be like adult and then remembering back. But in the second part of the miniseries, I thought it was really weird if you don't have the knowledge of I don't want to call it the orgy, but like if you don't have the knowledge of that, Beverly is like all over all of them and like mouth kissing all of them and like saying she loves all of them. And so if you don't know that, I feel like it's a little confusing.
Well, I felt like it was more like they just played up like the Ben and Bill aspect of it in the miniseries. Like I never really took it as when she shows back up at like the Chinese restaurant and she tells them that she loves them all. Like I just thought she was just like, I mean, I just took that as like a friend thing as opposed to like when she's just flat out like kissing Bill. And then does she end up with Ben in the book?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm all about that.
I like the way the 2017 one handled it, where they just didn't do anything. Like, it was just, we're in the sewers, now we're out of the sewers, and like, if this happens again, we'll meet up.
Yeah.
Because that was part of the lead into it in the book, is they're lost in the sewer system, and they're trying to figure out how to get out, and, you know, they felt like they weren't friends anymore or whatever, so for whatever reason, it was someone's idea, like, let's all have sex, and we'll become stronger friends, and we'll find a way out of the sewer. For whatever reason, that worked.
They did it in the sewer?
Yes, they were still lost in the sewer during the orgy part.
I didn't know that, and I like it even less now.
Right, like, when you think it can't get any grosser.
Ben is like bleeding out of his stomach, and she's just like, "Hey, baby."
Ben is in the throes of death right now.
Okay, well that's fine. He's gonna die, so like, just, just give whatever. But
what age are they supposed to be in the book? Is it like 12, 13-ish? Like
Bill?
in the movie?
Bill is definitely like 10. Oh, part of the book. Well, I don't know. I wrote, when I very, very first started the book, I like started notes and I wrote that Bill was 10. Maybe he wasn't.
Well, he's probably 10 when like Georgie dies.
Ah, you're true. That's right.
Yeah. Like, I just assume that they're all supposed to be like roughly 13-ish. I don't remember if they say in the movies or not. Going back to like the thing with like Ben kind of taking Mike's place a little bit, like, there's so much things that they change that don't make sense to me. Like, who goes back to the library in the book? Is it?
I think it was Mike, right?
No, because Mike,
like when they're adults.
Mike works at the library, doesn't he? Like, because so in the miniseries it's Richie, but I think it's like Ben, Bill, or Eddie, maybe. Not
It's
like
Ben.
Eddie. Is it Ben?
Ben goes back because
Like,
he makes it back into town, and that's the first thing he does when he gets back into town is he decides to go visit the library.
Yeah, so like okay, so
Pennywise starts fucking with him.
that makes sense based on like Ben's character. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know why it was changed to like Richie in the miniseries.
Richie had a weird stand-up set he had to do.
Oh my god, his stand-up is fucking bonkers. I forgot about that.
It's just making a bunch of weird sounds.
Yeah, it's crazy, and he's like on like Jay Leno type show.
It's so weird.
I think I text Katie about it. I was like, I cannot wait to talk about this fucking insane stand-up he's doing that everybody's like obsessed with, and he somehow got popular from. It's so terrible.
I really thought that them redoing. I essentially feel like his character is like they redid it. Sort of. I mean, maybe kids used to be like that, and I just don't know. But I thought that the newer version of Richie, his like whole bit and like the your mom jokes and stuff, I thought was like much more believable than whatever he was saying in the original one.
I mean, I buy his like 50s version as well, because I feel like he'd probably be maybe a little more like vulgar, but it was also ABC, so I get it. But like, I feel like his just stupid like 50s bullshit works. But I think, yeah, like the way, like the way.
Hey, doll face.
I think.
Cha 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 cha.
I mean that. I just assume that's how Seth Green talks all the time.
I think that's fair.
I'm just glad they cut out all of his racist voices that he does.
Oh god, I just forgot.
Oh my
I forgot
God.
all about that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Why, Stephen King? Why? Like,
Listen, it was a different time, man.
I think I tweeted something when I first started listening to the book, and I was like, wow, this is real racist. I was like, I did not assume it was going to have this much racism in it.
Yeah, I think we got into sort of a fight about it, and then I started actually reading the book, and I was like, yeah, this is like a little much for me, even though I've read like 1,000 things where he's, you know, dealing with characters who are like racist or bigots or like sexist or something. I felt the beginning of it was like very intense.
Oh, like, so, how do you think they're going to handle Beverly and her husband in the sequel?
I think it's going to be brutal.
Oh, I do not want to see it. That whole thing in the book goes on for so long, and I was just like real bummed out. Like I did just thought about that. Like, as you said something like about it, and I don't want to see it, because it's like real tame in the fucking miniseries.
I can't believe they alluded to it at all in the 90s miniseries, even, you know?
I think they had to, because you really don't get much with her dad either. I think you have to get like.
I don't think there's any. Oh no, there is a little bit. Yeah, I think they just like glazed by it, and they're like, let's have him say she can't take this phone call, and then they'll get in a fight, and she'll throw something at him, and they'll understand that he's abusive.
Yeah, like it's brutal in the book. Like, I was just sitting there listening to it like at work, and it was just kind of like, oh man, I don't know why I'm listening to this, because this is just bumming me out, and I'm already bummed out because I'm at work. No, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm glad I didn't read that far.
Oh, yeah, it's like
It's
everything.
rough.
Yeah, it's like everything else in the book where it just goes on for so long. Oh man, that's gonna be a bummer. Now I kind of just don't want to watch the sequel.
Well, that guy gets violently murdered, so...
Does he? I know
Small
I didn't make it that far.
sides.
What happens to him in the book?
I can't remember specifically, but I just remember at the tail end, you know, Pennywise has gotten, what's his name, the bully?
Henry.
Yeah, Henry. He's got Henry Bowers going after him, and he somehow convinces Beverly's ex-husband, to try and chase after her and try and kill the group of kids. And I want to say he gets decapitated somehow.
Nice.
Yeah, I think about the time I stopped, I think it was he was on his way to Derry, and then Bill's wife, like the actress
Audra.
or whatever. Yeah, I think she was on her way, and that was about the time I stopped. Does she have the same kind of thing as where she shows up in the town in like the miniseries?
Yes, I believe so.
very
I'm trying to. I'm googling how Tom dies or if he dies.
Yeah, I meant to I was like, I'm not going to take any notes. I was like, I just want to kind of just discuss it and not like whatever. And then I was like, well, I should like.
It'd be impossible to take notes on 70 hours of video and.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna
4 hours of book.
I was just gonna take down like the actors and their characters and all that shit, and I was like, I'm just not doing any of this. I don't feel like it. And then I was gonna just read like the Wikipedia like plot or whatever for the book, just to kind of get familiar. Then I was like, I don't want to do this either. I'll let Kit do it.
I pretty much I took notes on the miniseries, like a lot of notes, and then I was like, why did I think this was a good idea? So I didn't take notes on the second one except for to write down the scenes that I thought were like super awesome.
Like the Cure scene, which is the best thing ever filmed. Like, I fucking lost my mind when 6 Different Ways started playing as they're cleaning up the bathroom, because it's like a top 5 Cure song for me.
That whole scene to me was insane, especially, that's why earlier I said if you didn't see it in the theaters, like, I feel bad for you, because watching that in the theater was, like, insane. The amount of blood, like, the whole room was just red.
Oh, yeah.
It was, like, very shocking.
Was this a movie that... Did this play on IMAX screens at all?
I don't think so.
That would be kind of interesting to see, like, something like that on, like, an IMAX screen.
I don't got IMAX money.
I mean, I know I'm not rich either, but I just said it would be interesting. I don't have that old pod money. I'm not rich.
Why not? Shudder? Come on,
What
man.
the fuck? Shudder's been like at every single one of our Instagram posts, but they're not fucking giving us any money.
Listen,
Baby
all I'm
step,
saying
Nathan.
is that one time I tweeted that they should sponsor you, and I swear to God they liked it and then unliked it. So I think
They
it's
saw it.
very rude.
They saw
They
the
were
name and were like, and then like sponsorship. Never mind.
They're like, oop, just gonna retract that. But I saw it. I'm calling you
I
out.
mean, to be fair, as long as they keep releasing like rad documentaries and shit, I'm fine with it. But I also kind of want them to give me money, just for a month.
Money, please.
Yeah. Money me now, please. Give it to us just for a month so we could say we were Shudder sponsored for like a couple episodes.
All right, y'all. Tom dies by seeing its true form and then dropping dead just immediately, and then it eats him.
I kind of wish he was
Okay.
alive when it happened, but
Yeah, same.
Not as satisfying as the decapitation, but
Yeah,
I'll take it, I
I
guess.
mean, I kind of wish Beverly
not as
killed
exciting as I recall.
him. Do all of the kids survive in the book except for obviously what's his name that kills himself?
Yeah, I think everyone makes it out except for Stan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I don't remember what happens to Eddie.
I was thinking like
Man, it's really hard to remember a 1,200-page book from 2 years ago. Fuck.
I'm like
Wait, but doesn't Eddie die in the miniseries?
no, I don't think anybody except for Stan does.
Oh, I definitely wrote Eddie is dead, even though he looks fine. So maybe he was fine.
And
Yeah, no, he did.
And do what?
He's dead.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't. I remember him like he's the first one that like when he like Pennywise does his weird light thing. That like he gets like he's the first one to get like entranced, and then like Ben comes up to save him and gets entranced or whatever. Like
Yes.
I don't
Eddie-
remember him dying.
Eddie says, he yells, "I believe in Santa Claus!" And then he gets grabbed, and then that's when Bev is like trying to find the earrings or whatever to slingshot at him. So he like gets squashed.
Oh, that's
I
right.
guess?
He gets like picked up by the crab. He's not the first.
Yeah.
Like, Richie's the first one that gets like entranced or whatever. And then yeah, okay, I remember that. I don't remember him dying for some reason. I remember that now, like him getting like picked up by the crab claw thing, but oh, weird.
He gets his arm ripped off in the book.
nice. Just like Georgie. That whole fucking
Got
scene.
a thing for arms.
The fucking beginning of the fucking 2017 movie is unbelievable.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all.
It, like, that whole scene, and then, like, Bill Skarsgård in it is just creepy as fuck. And, like, it's so good. I just want to hear him say pop, 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 like, all the time.
No.
It's weirdly my favorite delivery of his, too.
It's so good. It, like, going into it, I was like, Tim Curry was, like, real creepy in the miniseries. I was like, there's no way. And then, like, that happened, and I was like, nope, this is fucking creepy.
Nah, he's creepy just because he was a Boston guy dressed up like a clown.
I mean, yeah, Tim Curry's just creepy because he looks like he's just a serial killer as opposed to an alien.
I mean, they both have, like, really creepy eyes, which I think is, like, part of the thing that, like, is scary about both of them. Like, in different ways, but but they're both just like really creepy.
Yeah, I like Bill Skarsgård. Like the thing that kind of knocks the 2017 one down a bit for me is like I think the CGI use.
Yeah, I agree.
I've said it I think on here a couple times where I'm just like I don't like the trend or whatever since like The Ring came out where everybody that is like some kind of weird paranormal thing has to have that weird kind of like Japanese horror movie like walk movement to it. And there's parts of like stuff where they CGI his movements that like bum me out and I don't like it. And then like some of the stuff like when his mouth opens and he's got all the teeth, I'm just like this kind of doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I didn't like that part either.
A lot of his like weird movements like in the basement or in the sewers or whatever, where it just looks real off, was them filming him just like doing it real slow, like these strange like running motions.
Yeah.
And they sped it up in the film, so it looks real wonky and alien.
I really
liked it.
I fucking love the scene when he comes out of the refrigerator though, after like
Yes.
he fell through the ceiling. And like I was reading about how they did that, where they had him like on wires and then like essentially just like CGI'd his entire body to where he's doing like the weird twisting thing.
Yeah.
But like I think they also filmed a part of it of him moving into the refrigerator backwards to make it more like fucked up looking.
Yeah.
And then it's so good. And then when he finally like I think after he like untwists himself and he does that weird like dance walk towards him. It's so good. Everything in that house is just fucking super good.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I really liked. I liked in the original the actual like entrance into the sewer, like out of when it's like out in the water and it looks like really cool. And I like that more than the well just like being in the basement. But all of the shit that happens in the house is so cool and well done, I think. That I really liked that addition.
There's like little bonus like featurette thing on the Blu-ray that they talk. There's like one part where they just talk about like how they kept like Bill Skarsgård away from the kids like until they filmed together, so they never got to see him as Pennywise until he showed up to like film with them. And like the first thing he did with any of the kids was with that scene with Eddie when he's like I got his arm broken and shit in the house. And he's just like starts like slobbering all over him and shit. And I guess like I guess they had to do it a couple times, and like the first time, pretty much every time after, like Eddie was like legitimately fucking like panicking and just like grossed out, and like all of that is like a real reaction.
Oh, so you can definitely see it in his face, where he's like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
Yeah, and I guess like they would call cut, and Bill Skarsgård would be like, "Oh no," he's like, "All right, are you cool?" And he's like, I can't believe that what you're doing with this character. This is awesome. Like, it's such a fucking, like, kid thing. And then, like, I think the other one I remember seeing was, when, like, Bill and Richie run into the room. And that was, like, the first time they saw him. And so, like, that was, like, a genuine reaction as well. Because I guess they spent the entire time, they're like, oh, like, I know he's just an actor. It's just a costume. We'll be fine. And then I guess like all the kids were like, no, I was legitimately fucking terrified when I saw him. I don't know. I don't really have much else. Mostly I just wanted to talk about why Ben Hanscom is not dead within like 3 days.
Yeah, they removed the scariest scene from both of them, and that's when the leper that shows up, like in the 2017 version, he offers to give Eddie a blowjob for a dime.
Oh,
That's the scariest part.
I think I remember that. I think I made to that point in the book. That sounds familiar. There's so much weird like sex shit in the book. It just fucking bums me out. It's just like Stephen King fucking loves to describe dicks, which, I mean, same.
Understandable, honestly.
I don't know. Like I think I like the more I'm gonna like rewatch, because the 2017 one is just like utterly rewatchable, and like I think
It's got that like feel good, like Amblin vibe to it.
Yeah, it's very like Steven Spielberg as a horror movie, I think. I am real interested to see what the sequel is going to be like. I don't really know what to expect. It comes out later this year, right? I think it's like in the summer, so it's like pretty soon.
Oh,
September?
damn.
Oh, is it September? I thought it was going to be a summer movie.
I think so.
They probably don't want to fucking deal with like Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel's about to just dominate this whole first like 6 months. They got what fucking Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man.
Listen, all I want to say about Avengers is that the last one came out like on my birthday last year. So I went to see it, and it literally like ruined my birthday because I just was like sobbing in the movie theater, and it comes out this year like the day after my birthday. So of course I'm gonna go see it again, and it is gonna ruin my birthday again.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Captain America's gonna die, so you're gonna be crying the whole time.
I don't care about him, but
I do. I'm gonna cry the whole time.
I'm gonna laugh at you.
I mean, what else is new?
That's true. One of the other One of the other things that I wanted to add is I don't know how they described this in the book at all. The standpipe from the 2017 one, the one that's like above ground, that's like super huge, and they had that like pile of like bikes and debris and stuff, and like the kids floating in the air, I thought was like super awesome looking. And I felt like in the original, when you watch it, it's like a tiny little it's like literally just like a storm drain. But I didn't realize that. Like, I didn't remember that being part of it. So I went back and watched it, and I was like, wow, this is, like, very underwhelming.
I mean, like, it's also, again, like, a time period thing. Like, it's like they had, like, CGI to make this giant thing like they did in the 2017 one.
I don't think in the book, like, the kids floating, I think, was just an addition to the movie. Like, I don't think that was even a thing in the book. But the standpipe was there, and I know Eddie has an encounter with Pennywise in the standpipe. And the only other thing I remember is in the like epilogue, whenever the town's getting totally flooded, the standpipe just like wiping out half of the town.
Which actually happened, which is sad, but
yeah. I think he says like shit about floating in the book. I mean, I didn't make it far enough for them to like get into like any of the fights with Pennywise, I don't think, but like he mentions like floating in the book, so like I just assumed that was in the book as well. But I also
I don't remember if it was like a body carousel, in the standpipe.
y'all are gonna have to
read this 1,200-page again. God damn it!
Katie is constantly trying to get us to do that carousel movie.
Yes.
Which I think we're doing in April. I forget what movies I texted you about doing now, but I think that was one of them.
Can't wait.
April's gonna suck.
April is gonna be fucking brutal. I think. Well, go ahead.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I think our tentative like thing for April is gonna be Tsunami, The Dentist, and then Carousel, and then President Wolfman.
Oh,
So,
you have to do President Wolfman the week of my birthday.
I think that's gonna be like the last one, so that would be the week of your birthday.
Yay!
That's the only one I'm looking forward to watching. Tsunami is gonna be real dumb. I haven't seen The Dentist in a long time, and like Chris Redar was just like, I want to do The Dentist, and I was like, all right. I was like, I don't know, I gotta wait till I can like buy it or rent it or whatever. And he was just like, what's your address? And then just like bought me the DVD, and I was like, all right, well I guess we're doing that.
Oh man, my brother's so nice.
Yeah.
We should do The Dentist and The Dentist 2. Brace yourself.
I mean, I will 100% do both of them.
Real talk, the cover for Dentist 2 just fucking horrified me as a kid. I never wanted to go to the dentist.
I think we need more Corbin Burnson in this podcast, so...
Agreed. We'll do Dentist 2, and then Major League.
Oh, God. I never want to watch Major League again.
I fucking love Major League.
Alright, so next week, I am gonna hate my life. Because...
He's watching...
Well, we're gonna do Thinner, but Kit and Katie are supposed to drink throughout the episode. So...
Oh, okay.
Or, I mean, Katie will be drunk before, but...
Stipulation.
I will do before and after.
Yeah,
And during.
Every time you hear the phrase, white man from town, you take a shot.
Oh, that will get you fucked up, man.
I feel at some point I'm literally just gonna like leave the recorder on and just walk out of the room. I'm not looking forward to being the only one clearly talking about this fucking stupid movie.
Did you watch the movie already? Like, no one's going to be thinking clearly after watching it anyway.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I have a pretty good memory of it from when I saw it in the theater, and I was very angry about it, but I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it. Maybe
I did
Friday.
already watch it. I'm going to rewatch it drunk, so we'll see how my notes are different.
It's just all, like, unreadable.
Probably.
Every other month, so...
Yeah, I was like, Kit said he watches it periodic a lot, so... yeah, so Thinner will be next week, and then Maximum Overdrive, and then fucking Dreamcatcher to close it out.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to talking about weird monsters that come out of people's asses. I mean, Jason Lee's in it, so I'm all bored.
Shit weasels.
Yeah.
The book term.
I literally don't remember anything about the movie except for the shit weasel part. So obviously, like, that scarred me. I haven't rewatched the movie yet, so I don't know how I feel, but I literally just finished the book today. So it'll be interesting.
I just remember that Jason Lee's in it, and that's all that I care about.
Donnie Wahlberg.
Oh, no. Why?
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant's in that, too, isn't he?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool, too. I like him, too. They got some fucking big-name people in that for some fucking absolute garbage Stephen King movie. So,
okay,
my boy.
Go ahead, Katie.
Can we just for a second talk about the Stephen King movies that we do like?
I was just gonna say. So, I was gonna say that I think the 2017 It movie is probably the best one, but I also kind of want to say Misery as well, because I legit love Misery.
Misery is pretty good. I think for me, I have to say Pet Sematary is my favorite because I'm like literally wearing a Pet Sematary shirt. But I think, sounds stereotypical, but I do like The Shining. I watch it like all the time, and I think it holds up. But The Mist is also one of my favorites.
Oh, The Mist is good.
That's a good one.
Salem's Lot, Stand By Me. I don't know if anyone has really seen. There's one called, I think it's A Good Marriage, which is really good, that I feel like people have never heard of. And then he also did, I don't know if anyone's seen Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh, yeah.
But he did like one of the stories from that I really like. And then, Creepshow.
Oh, he's so good in Creepshow. That's like one of my favorite things he's ever done, is when he just becomes a weird fucking moss monster.
Well, and one of the things I like about him too is that he does do a lot of like cameos in his stuff. So he's been in like a lot of movies.
Yeah, he does a lot of cameos at other people's stuff too. Like he He's like a voice on like, I think there's like a thing in Diary of the Dead where he's just like reading shit off and like on a radio, and like, he does a bunch of shit like that. He seems like a genuinely like good dude.
I love whenever he like reads his own audiobooks. It's like my favorite thing ever because he has that like Maine accent. And it just sounds so like 80s when he's like reading it, because like most of his stories take place then, and like that's the part, like that's part of one of the reasons that I like reading his stuff. But yeah, again, if anyone wants to just start a Stephen King podcast, I'm up for that.
I mean, if the fucking Shudder would sponsor us, I would do it just so you can explain Stephen King stuff to me.
I will do. Oh, that reminds me, I have some news.
Oh.
That's actually
doing more work than either of us.
Listen, I've done nothing but read and watch and research Stephen King stuff for the past like 3 weeks. So I have a lot of stuff. No, but this like literally just posted like a couple days ago that they're doing a documentary called Pennywise: The Story of It. And there's no like release date for it yet, but they've got a lot of the original cast members from like the miniseries, like even some of the kids come back and talk about it. And there are trailers available online, and I really recommend watching it because it looks like it's going to be amazing.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Tim Curry's in it too.
Of course he is.
Hell yeah.
Kit, what's some of your favorite Stephen King movies?
Pet Sematary, probably number one.
Yay.
A couple that are really good that I don't see people talking about too much are Netflix exclusive ones.
Yes.
It's Gerald's Game in 1922. They're both fantastic.
1922 has been in like my watch list for a while. I need to just like actually watch it.
Same, and that's what I did the other day, and once I finally watched it, I was like, wow, that was good. Why did I wait so goddamn long?
Yeah, they're both so good.
It's very, very slow burn kind of movies, but man, they're great.
It's real dumb, and we'll get to it, but I legitimately love Maximum Overdrive. I mean,
yes.
It's not like, you know, a quote-unquote one of his good ones, like Misery and, like, shit like Pet Sematary, obviously, like, shit that actually, like, stands up or whatever, but Maximum Overdrive is just fucking, like, real stupid, goofy fun.
I actually have never seen it at all.
You're gonna hate it.
So, I'm gonna watch it the first time for this, but I do already have some notes on it that are, like, I don't know what I'm getting into here, so.
He, like, it does not tie into, like, the short story it's based on, like, whatsoever.
No, because I read this short story. It's, like, 7 pages.
Yeah.
So, just what I've seen from the trailer, I'm like, oh my god, what?
It's got Yardley Smith, who voices Lisa Simpson, in it. So I'm all about it. And then, like...
Oh, dang.
Got,
Isn't Emilio Estevez in it?
Yes.
And then, it's, like, I always bring up that it's probably, like, the first live-action... It's probably not true, but like Marvel thing, like it's got the Green Goblin's face as like the front of the semi truck or whatever.
Right. That's like the one thing I remember seeing. Like I've heard about it. I just like never watched it because I don't care about cars and stuff. So
it's real stupid, but it's fun. Like I feel like the It movies and then Maximum Overdrive, I tried to pick like 2 that were like good, you know, like fun things to talk about, because I felt like Thinner and Dreamcatcher were going to be real not fun to watch. Except for Kit.
No, Thinner's a fantastic watch.
Thinner has Joe Mantegna, so I'm kind of fucking on board for that, but I don't think I'm on board for any of the rest of it. But he does audio commentary on the DVD, so I cannot fucking wait to listen to that. Yeah, that's, I don't know, all I got, unless you guys got anything else.
No.
Alright. I'm not listing off the shit you can follow us on. Just look us up. I don't care. I hope you self-reply.
Beep, beep, Richie.